It's another one of these dinner time things where we talk about footy and that.
Not at dinner time.
And
It
not
is
at
sort
dinner
of.
time. People are,
Quarter past one, it is.
people
If
are
you
getting
wondered.
onto that, it's like dead late. There's a few reasons. One, we start it like at dinner time when it's our dinner, and then our internet's crap in it.
It's not the best.
So it takes about 4 years to upload, so Soz probably will have played Southampton and everything by the time you see this.
No, it won't be that bad.
But Klopp's done a press conference.
Yeah, he has, yeah. Always
Said a few
entertaining.
things. Says he's happy with the defending. Says we're pretty good at defending now, but he's not sure about the set pieces.
Yeah, he mentioned the set pieces in particular. I think we have been defending better. I thought I think we defended more as a team, and I think a lot of what was going on maybe under the last manager was you felt the defenders, they almost looked like they were all playing on their own, if that kind of makes sense, and they were all in these kind of one-on-one battles, and if you lost one, then you know the opposition scored. Where they seem to be defending a bit more as a team now. I don't know how you coach that in a short period of time really, or whether it's just a mentality thing. I don't know, but they seem to be defending more as a team. But yeah, the set piece thing. It's funny because he mentioned it, because I always wonder, is it just a case of you just worry? Does every football fan worry about their team defending set pieces? You know, is it?
It's quite a low percentage of set pieces that lead to goals, though, isn't it? Like in general.
I think it's 1 in 42 or something like that.
Mad.
So there's no need for us all to panic quite so much. And I think Liverpool's is about on par last time I saw, but you know, every time Swansea got a corner at the weekend, you know, I was panicking. It's not like Swansea are massive, is it really?
Well, it's interesting as well that he says Bogdan will start tomorrow.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think he's obviously aware of what everyone's been saying about Mignolet and the fact that we're being linked with like Butland and various other keepers, and he said he's happy with them. He says he doesn't think he's put a foot wrong really since he's come in, and he says he also thinks he's a young enough goalie to develop. I think this is a bit of a PR spin, John.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think he's maybe right to say that Mignolet hasn't done a huge amount wrong since he come in. I mean, there's the obvious one with the handling and things like that, but I think what he's trying to say is, look, you guys have got you know. I think a lot of Liverpool fans have made their mind up on Mignolet now, really, and I think what he's trying to say is, look, I'm coming in, I'm fresh, you know, been here a month, you know, so I'm looking at him, he hasn't done a lot wrong for me, you know, in terms of his handling or his shot stopping and things like that, you know, the important stuff, and, you know, I'm kind of looking at it.
Old non-Swift for 30 seconds and that.
Apart from that, so I'm kind of looking at it thinking, well, you know, and he's right to say that Mignolet's young enough to kind of improve, but from those who've seen him, you know, we kind of doubt whether he's got the mentality and whether, you know, we haven't seen huge amounts of improvements in him really. You know, we've seen kind of fits and starts and little purple patches and then back to kind of what we thought. So it
probably cost. I mean, Paul Senior made this point on Twitter last night. Probably cost a lot of money to get someone who's actually better than him, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Because he's not. There's aspects of his game obviously that we're not happy with.
Yeah.
But if you go out and buy all the names that people are throwing out there, it's going to cost you a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not that many good goalies about, and everyone wants them. And so, you know, if there is a young up and coming keeper, there's been a couple of names in Germany mentioned. If there is a young up and coming keeper, then everyone's going to have an eye on him, because it's a position that, you know, lots of teams struggle with, and it's very hard to get right. And then when you do get it right, you've kind of sat on a goal man, and you just hope, you know, he can stay fit for as long as he wants. You know, you think about, you know, all the top clubs really, you know, going through goalkeepers, and they've all kind of, you know, found it hard really to get that one who's the one who's going to be a great keeper for you for years. So it's not an easy position to get right, and you know, if that's why, you know, teams often do struggle. But you know, I think with, generally speaking, with transfers, I think people are expecting more in January than what we're going to get. And I think that was what Klopp's getting at as well. You know, I think what Klopp was getting at is, don't expect us, you know, to be going out and getting 3 or 4 first team players in January, because I want to have a look at these lads. I think there's quality here, and I think that I can improve them.
And we're doing all right.
And we're doing all right.
I mean, he also said about, he spoke about Henderson and Sturridge, said, interesting that he said 120 minutes is too much for them. So he's already sort of almost looking ahead, saying it's going to be quite a tight game maybe.
But I think if you're picking a team for the cup game, you've got to think about that no matter who you're playing. And I think what he's saying is, look, if I start Henderson and Sturridge, then that's 2 subs down already, because both of them will probably have to come off 60 or 70 minutes. And if you're thinking it's potentially 120 minute game, then then you've only really given me one substitute, and so if there's an injury somewhere else, or if I want to do something tactically, then I haven't got a lot of room to play.
Do you think you'll do it the other way round then?
Yeah, I think they'll both be on the bench, and then it kind of gives you options really, and then you can kind of look to them with 10-15 to go, or maybe we won't need them, maybe we'll just win 3-0 and it'll all be fine.
That'd be alright, wouldn't it? He also says, I found interesting, he says, I believe Southampton and Liverpool aren't the best of friends. I've got no problem with Southampton, have you?
I think it's more the other way, isn't it? I think we've took a lot of players off them last couple of years, and I think what he's saying is, look, Southampton are going to be up for it. It's going to be a tough game for us, and so I think he's preparing for everyone for a little bit of a battle really, because we're in a decent bit of a way form, are we? And I don't think Jürgen Klopp necessarily he tried to play it down at the end of the Man City game, didn't he? And I think he's just doing a little bit of that again, thinking don't expect us to go and beat every team kind of 3 or 4-0 away from home all the time. It's going to be a tough one, this.
All right.
Do you know something I found interesting from the press conference, actually? You just mentioned this. I haven't seen it mentioned many other places before. He said the team haven't trained yet. And I think what I've heard that Jürgen Klopp's doing quite a bit of, which I haven't really seen mentioned, is he's getting the team training at different times, like forever.
Does he train like the time they're actually going to play, don't they, sometimes?
Yeah, it's not exactly the time they're going to play, but he's
later in
the day, and I think it was last week before the Bordeaux game. We started training at about 4 o'clock, just while it was getting dark, and I think it's funny because Liverpool have always kind of trained about the same time, haven't they? They've gone in, had the breakfast, go out about 11 o'clock, and it doesn't really make sense the more you think about it, because A, games of football don't kick off at that time, but B, the games are kicking off at all different times, and if your body's kind of conditioned for it, that's when they go out and do stuff, then it doesn't really make much sense. So I think it's quite interesting that Jürgen Klopp's doing this, and I'm surprised that more managers don't really just try and mix up the times, because surely it's you've got to train the body to work well in different periods and on different levels of food and things like that. So I think it's quite interesting that he's done that.
All right, on tour player today, there's the Tuesday review for starters, which is looking back at the Swansea game, so get on to that. And we'll try and do a few more of these this week. Can't tell you when though.